my name is Marsha Maines. I was here a couple of years ago doing a speech here in front of the Capitol, giving my Father's Day speech, or as we like to call it in the family rights community, the Fatherless Rights Day speeches. I'm really disturbed about what I see going on in our country. I mean, I was here 2 years ago and I kind of felt the pulse of the country back then, and I think a lot more people are awake today and starting to recognize that those taxed enough parties that are springing up all over the country are not just Republicans and they're not just Democrats. They are citizens. They are we the people who are waking up and finding that our rights are being traded for privileges and sold back to us for fees by our current government, not only at the state level, the county level, but also at the federal level. There seems to be a missing link between the state and the federal government as it relates to our dual sovereignty. And I suggest that anyone who's unfamiliar with this concept or the actual constitution that founded this country to take a look at the movie Don't Tread on Me. I suggest you Google it and you get your hands on that DVD that was just released last month and take a look at what's really going on in this country. I drove 1,200 miles with $200 in my pocket to make this speech today because I feel that the message I have to give today is that important. It is that important. I feel my spirit has moved me to take these actions, and I think there are a lot of other people in this country that hear the spirit and aren't listening to it. Some are waking up to it, but not everybody is. I got an email this morning from someone I had worked with for a little bit in the family law business, and I'm here to educate you guys, and when I say you guys, not just men, but men and women, and anyone out there who has been a victim of the family court system. You are mothers, you are fathers, you are children, you are grandparents who have lost access to your own grandchildren. You are mothers who have lost the rights to visit your own children by CPS false allegations. You are fathers who are being told you can only visit your children 2 days a month or 4 days a month in exchange for some sum of money that you must provide to your local state treasury or child support enforcement fund. The email I got today is what led me to speak again today and drive down here. And I want to educate you, and I don't know if Mark will be able to zoom in on this information or not, but I want to educate you on what is typically going on in the courts of Virginia. I don't know if this is occurring in the other states, but I definitely know it's going on in Virginia. I've been a court watcher for 4 years in these courts, and this is not the first time I've seen something like this. We have here a court order that has been prepared by a lawyer on behalf of another lawyer who claims to be an assistant attorney general. And this order was prepared for a judge because we who are involved in the family court system recognize that judges don't actually do their own orders anymore. They simply have other bar card members prepare what their version of the hearing actually said, submit it to the court, and then the judge typically just signs off on it. What's important about that is the fact that there are Supreme Court rules that state prior to a judge signing an order, both parties are to be permitted the opportunity to review the order for its accuracy as to what actually occurred in the courtroom. And there are actually two separate Virginia Supreme Court rules, Rule 112 and 113, that state that both parties are to be provided a copy of the order that is being presented to that judge for his signature at least 7 days, I believe, 7 to 10 days prior to the judge signing the order. And when you have a lawyer on behalf of another lawyer creating the order and filing the order before the hearing even takes place, with a dollar amount stated as to how much money this person will be required to pay to get out of jail before the hearing even happens, you really have to wonder, is this guy going to get a fair hearing? I mean, why are people driving hours to go to court hearings and spending their entire day away from work to go to a court hearing, thinking that they're going to be establishing a record, getting the truth on the record, when lawyers are creating orders for judges before hearings even occur. And what's even more frightening is these lawyers are faxing in these orders outside of normal business hours, and they're coming directly from the office of the Attorney General. So I don't know. There's a lot of people out there who think that when they get in legal trouble, they need to call a lawyer. I unfortunately disagree. I think you need to read the law. And I think that every individual out there who puts all their faith and trust in a bar card member, and when I say bar card member, take it lightly, gentlemen, those lawyers out there who I actually trust. It's a private club, okay? It's a private club membership, and bar cards will protect bar cards. That's probably why the Office of the Attorney General decided what the dollar amount was going to be before the hearing occurred and went ahead and wrote the order, knowing full well that this particular case was going to establish a record specifically for the Court of Appeals of Virginia. Because should the Court of Appeals of Virginia actually create an order that's signed by real judges, which today doesn't happen either. Actually, they allow clerks to sign court orders, which makes you wonder as a citizen, well, did a judge even actually read the case? And was my hearing actually a real hearing? And since when can a clerk practice law without a law license? Oh, that's right. 2 years ago, Bob McDonnell, the then Attorney General of Virginia, met with his friends in the General Assembly of Virginia to have an ex post facto law that created a bill of attainder in violation of Virginia's Constitution that allows social workers to now practice law without a law license. So any Virginia citizen can simply go to their local social worker and have the social worker be their judge and jury. And they'll get to decide how much money you'll pay before you go to your hearing. This is deeply disturbing, deeply disturbing. And this case, actually, case number 1911094, is at the Court of Appeals, now pending an en banc hearing, which means all the judges have to look at it now, not just 3 that just dismissed it as moot. The other issue I think we need to look at is the issue of fraud upon the court. Now, everybody seems to think that perjury is illegal. I haven't found a case anywhere yet where someone actually got charged with perjury and prosecuted and punished for perjury. And, you know, I canceled my cable a couple years ago when I became a court watcher because I come to find that there's far more entertainment in a courtroom than there is on the boob tube sitting in your living room. You know, I don't know what else to tell you. I just think we, the people, need to wake up. And if you haven't found a tea party that you like, you need to go find one. I went to one the other night that was fully represented by former Democrats. I also went to one a couple of weeks ago that was represented by those disillusioned by the Republican Party. And I think that the more people wake up and realize we really do have a common bond, and that is our liberties are being stripped away. They're being stolen from us, and we are submitting ourselves to their authority. For those of you who think the click it and ticket program is absolutely absurd, I mean, come on. I know how to wear a seatbelt. Good grief, do you have to pull me over and charge me with a crime because I'm not wearing a seatbelt? I'm an adult. I don't know, people. We really need to see transparency in our government, and we really need to know what's going on in these secret courts. Because now that we have social workers practicing law and doing so under the color of law and determining how much money they want to redistribute from one party to another, you people have got to wake up. You've got to start looking at reality. Get out of your lazy boy, turn off your box in your living room that's programming you and feeding you information. Get away from the sports arena for a weekend and take a look at the real world out here. I mean, we didn't put Hades on top of the U.S. Capitol for nothing. I mean, she is the overlord of darkness, right? So if this isn't our, this is supposed to be the Lady of Justice. But how many of you out there know that ain't the Lady of Justice? So educate yourself. Don't allow yourself to be publicly indoctrinated by what's coming in through the mainstream media or through that boob tube in your living room, as I like to call it. I mean, they call pot dope. No, pot's not dope. I think a lot of the dopes are the people who don't realize what's going on in this country today and are simply just allowing it to happen. So if you've been a victim in a family court, or if you don't know your rights, I strongly suggest you pick up a copy of the DVD called Don't Tread on Me, and you go to the website flexyourrights.org and take a look at what your rights are. Because if you don't know them, how are you going to protect them? Thank you for hearing me speak.